Welcome to BBC One. I'm Leonard Pinth Garnell, and tonight on Where Are They Now, we will be featuring the music of legendary singer-songwriter John Herndon. When you're down and troubled and you need some love and care, and nothing, oh nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'd come running to see you again. Oh, baby. You've Got a Friend was just one of the songs that made John Herndon a star back in the early 1970s. His melodic tunes, combined with the stories of a simple man, put him at the forefront of the folk music revolution and the top of the musical charts. You got a friend, ain't it good to know you got a friend? Yeah, baby, you got a friend. Let me read a quote about you from a recent Rolling Stone article. It states, "When all is written, John Herndon may stand as one of the most important influences of the late 20th century." When you hear something like that, what goes through your head? Only the late 20th century? He's kidding, of course, but John Herndon has had a musical career that few can only imagine. Born into the turbulent 1960s, where music became not only a force of protest, but of personal expression, and John had a lot to say. The child of a Manhattan socialite mother and a hillbilly father from Kentucky, John was raised on Cole Porter as well as country bluegrass music. You know, I had an interesting mix of genes for music. I would spend afternoons sometimes listening to melodic melodies of Rodgers and Hart or big band musicians like Benny Goodman. Other days that hillbilly gene would take over and I would just want to get a banjo and you know, rip out all my teeth and go fuck a cousin. His career began in the coffee shops of the 1970s throughout New York City, where he would present his writings and other more famous musicians would later turn them into major commercial successes. We joined John on his estate that he purchased in the early 1990s, a sprawling 10 acres of beachfront property that he now calls home, to discuss his phenomenal career, both past and present. Well, yeah, I would say that Fire and Rain probably did start it, although I felt I'd been around before that. But that did get me a lot of attention back in '72. Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just don't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire. John's music soon became hot properties for more established artists to record, In 1975, rocker Neil Young approached John to write a lead single for his forthcoming album. That song went on to become Neil Young's signature hit.
So if you look in my direction and we don't see eye to eye, my heart needs protection, so do I.
Working with the likes of Carole King on her landmark Tapestry album, John took the lead in co-writing and song production, but later stepped back and let Carole have most of the acclaim for the recording. Well, Carole and I were lovers back in the early 70s, and I remember one night after a particularly passionate night, I turned to Carole and I said, I think we moved the bed across the room, you know. And Carole said to me, "Bed, I felt the earth move." And she got up to go make me a sandwich, and I hit the piano, and the rest is musical history, as they say. After the affair with Carole King ended, John kicked around the music scene for a while, wrote some classic songs for other artists including David Bowie, Rod Stewart, and a highly successful song for Diana Ross. Yes, well, Diana Ross had just gotten thrown out of the Supremes for being an uppity bitch, and we were dating, and one morning she pulled that attitude with me, and I just cracked her across the back of her head and left. And later on that day when we got together, we wrote this song, and that's how Touch Me in the Morning came to be written. Touch me in the morning, then just walk away. We don't have tomorrow, but we have yesterday. These days, John spends most of his time bodybuilding and walking the beaches of his property and playing for his favorite audience, himself. He looks back on those days with a wise nostalgia.
I think the difference was back then musicians were expected to say something, to know something. I didn't know much. I don't think I know a lot now, any more than I did then anyway.
I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions that I recall. I really don't know life.